I am welcoming Mr. VP Gupta, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. He is from Delhi. He is a senior advocate from Delhi. And right now he was busy with us conducting a webinar meeting for another platform. And on behalf of National Action Committee, NSC, and group of our all members, once again, I am welcoming you, sir. And without wasting time, I am requesting you to start your discussion on applicability of Section 68 to 115 BBE under the Income Tax Act. Please, floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nigam.
Thank you.
In fact, I am obliged to you and also to Mr. Bhaskar for giving me this opportunity to have interaction with you people.
Please,
And
sir.
in fact, as you have just mentioned that I was on the other platform, I've just now finished there on the same topic. So in any way, there has been some confusion. This is why in the dates, etc. But no problem.
Not an
I'll
issue, sir.
continue.
Not an
I'll
issue.
continue. And I'm sorry that you have to wait.
अरे सर, not an issue.
You have to.
बहुत अच्छा सर,
Yes.
बहुत अच्छा होगा। वहाँ पे जो क्वेश्चन आए वो आप यहीं पे solve कर दीजिए।
नहीं, मैंने तो कहा था कि अगर क्लब हो सकता है तो क्लब कर लेते हैं, but no problem. There is no difficulty at all.
Not an
Next
issue.
time we will do that. Next
Okay,
time we will
okay.
do that.
नहीं, I'm thankful to Mr. Nigam as well as to Bhaskar for giving me this opportunity. So let us start with the topic. In fact, this is a very important and hot topic. And in fact, this I may just mention that lockdown has given a lot of opportunity to us to interact. And in fact, I have prepared for the first time this presentation at my own. Otherwise, my staff used to do in the office. So this is the first experience I have got it in making the presentation also. So in any way, now this topic, that 115 BBE, that with section 68, 69, 69A, B, C, etc., is very important because all the income tax assessments for assessment year 2017-18 relevant to financial year 2016-17 have been very recently finalized in December. And because this was the year in which the demonetization had taken place on 8th November 2016, the assessing officer have invariably made the addition in income tax assessments in respect of cash deposits made in the bank account by the assessees and have applied section 68, 69, generally section 68 and 69A. The assessing officers have applied in regard to cash deposits, and then they have determined the tax liability in terms of 115 BBE of the Act. Now, to start with, in fact, we can understand the presentation in three parts. In fact, firstly, I'll go through the language of the sections, and secondly, some case law, etc. And thirdly, I'll go into the relevant notification and the Reserve Bank of India Act, which dealt with the demonetization, to see whether holding of the currency, old currency notes after the 8th November 2016 was anyway illegal or anything wrong I had done if I have holded the money or I have accepted the money from somebody and then deposited in a bank account. That is what broadly the position has been. And as regard the now starting with the section, section 115 BBE, that is the starting section, because this section is applicable in case we have made the addition in terms of section 68. This section reads, where the total income of an assessee includes any income referred to in section 68, 69, 69A, 69B. Sorry.
Sir, you
Just a minute. 69C, 69D, and reflected in the return of income furnished under section 139 or determined by the assessing officer includes any income referred to in section 68, 69, 69A, 69B, C, and D. If such income is not covered under A, then income tax payable shall be aggregate of the amount of income tax at the rate of 60%. In fact, this section 115 BBE is creating a lot of very hardship to the persons, because once the income is included in section 68, 69, etc., then rate of tax applicable here is 60%. In addition to that, 25% is the surcharge payable, which means 15%, that is 75%. Then education cess is also payable at 4%, which makes the liability to the extent of 77.4%. And then further, the liability penalty is also leviable of the 10%, So all these things, if the liability goes even to more than 100%, in fact, that is the what is creating. So we have to understand whether all the sections are applicable in the context of circumstances when we have deposited the cash in our bank account. And cash deposit, in the whole presentation, I am proceeding on the basis of the cases where the cash deposits have been made in the bank, and cash deposit relates to three items primarily in case of persons who are carrying on the business. The cash deposits have been made on three accounts, that is means sales, recovery from debtors, or cash balances. So in that light, we have to understand. Yes, please. Yes.
Sir, you need to share your screen. There is some technical error, sir.
Okay, I'll just see.
Please, sir.
Because I am not very computer savvy.
Because due to one or other reason, your screen is out of sharing. Extremely sorry, sir.
ये वो शेयरिंग में गड़बड़, शेयर नहीं हो रहा क्या, ये स्क्रीन वहाँ शेयर नहीं हो रहा है, इसको नीचे मिनिमाइज करो पहले, अब उसको खोलो, जूम खोलो, उसमें नीचे शेयरिंग पे आएगा ना सर।
जूम पे मीटिंग है, ठीक है।
नहीं, इस पर ये
Yes, sir.
is okay now?
Yes, perfectly okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I am also not very computer savvy.
Not an issue. Not an issue. Please, sir.
Just a minute. So, I was on section 115 BBE, which I have already read. Now coming to the next section, section 68, because additions have been made under section 68 or 69A of the Act. So section 68 of the Income Tax Act reads as under that where any sum is found credited in the books of an assessee maintained for any previous year, and the assessee offers no explanation about the nature and source thereof, or the explanation offered by him is not in the opinion of the assessing officer satisfactory, the sum so credited may be charged to income tax as the income of the assessee of that previous year. You see, this section 68 that provides that in case some amount is found to be credited in your books of account and you are not able to explain what is the nature of this, then this amount will be considered to be your income. But we are considering a circumstances, as I mentioned, I'll explain that there are three circumstances where I have deposited the cash in bank account. I am carrying on the business, and first circumstance is that I have made this cash sales, and cash received on account of sale I have deposited in the bank account. That is first circumstances. So this is already recorded in my books of account and it is credited to profit loss account, and my taxable income has been determined on that basis. Secondly, I was having the cash balance in my books of account, and against that cash balance I have deposited in bank account. So that is again accounted for already in the books of account and included in my taxable income while determining as per my books of account. Third circumstance is that I have received the money from my debtors and then deposited in the bank. So the debtors have been there as per my books of account, which are again the sales made by me in either in this year or in an earlier year. So that is again accounted for in my books of account. So first thing I wanted to say, because my conclusion of all this presentation is that in these particular circumstances, none of the section 68 or 69 or 69A, etc. will be applicable, and therefore provisions section 115 BBE are not applicable. That is my nutshell, is the crux of all this presentation. So in that context, section 68 as it reads is applicable only when the amount is found to be credited. Then if I am not able to explain, then it will be considered to be my income. Where is the question of considering my income if I have already considered this as my income in my P&L account and already included my tax determination of taxable income? That is my first point to make, that section 68 cannot be applied in these circumstances where I have already accounted for the money in my books and the income has been determined on that basis. That is what section 68 is there. Now, if we go to the background of section 68 also, the section 68 has been there in the statute for quite long. In fact, in this present act, this has been from 62 itself, 61. Then this section has been applied by the assessing officers in two circumstances. Because as we read, the section says that if amount is found to be credited in my books of account, then if I am not able to explain, this will be deemed to my income. This will be considered to my income. Considering to my income means that I have claimed that it is not my income. And then the assessing officer says you have not been able to explain, therefore this will be considered to be your income. So in this context, there have been broadly two kinds of circumstances where section 68 has been applied. Circumstances number one has been that entry is there in the books of account, which I have shown that I have received the amount by way of loan, share capital, or a gift from a person. And I have to prove that I have received the money from so and so person and his capacity and etc. has been there. Second type of category has been that amount is there in my books of account, but I am claiming that this is of the nature which is not taxable as such. The amount I have received, this is the income, but it is not taxable as per the provisions of Income Tax Act. That is what it means. So in these two type of category, these provisions of section 68 has been applied by the department, and the assessees in these circumstances were required to explain. In first category of circumstances, the assessee was required to explain that identity, creditworthiness, and genuineness of the transaction. This is well settled legal provision that in case I have received the money by loan, capital, or gift from some person, then I have to prove that this money is there by way of I have received, the genuineness is there, creditworthiness is there, and identity of the person I have to prove. In second type of category, where I have said that this is the income I have received from so and so source, and this income is not taxable, there I have to prove the nature and the source of receipt. Then if I am able to prove that this has been the source and this is the nature of the exempt income, then this will not be taxable, otherwise this will be taxable. This is what has been there in legal controversy for a quite long as far as relation to section 68 is concerned. Now, broadly, there is a long list of cases, section 68, there have been all sort of cases, but I have just now to show this type of circumstances have been there. I have taken here the three Supreme Court decisions only, which are Govindaraju Mudaliar, 34 ITR, 58 case, then Durga Prasad More and Sumit Dayal cases. These three cases I have just picked up to show that I am also not going in very detail in these cases, but in all these cases, the issue has been that either I was claiming that income is not taxable or I have received from certain so and so person, and the courts have not accepted that position that this is the genuineness of the transaction is there or it is of exempt nature. And in that context, section 68 have been discussed, what is the scope and object in section 68 and how it is to be applied. That is what, say in the case of Govindaraju case, the SSC claimed that I have received capital was introduced in the partnership. He claimed that 80,000 I received as a gift from so and so person, which he was not able to prove. Second, there was an entry of 42,000, which he said that I have received from so and so person. He is a partner in so and so firm on my behalf. So this is the income which has already been taxed in his hand, and therefore it is not taxable in my hands. So the courts did not accept it. That was the circumstance in that. In second case, the issue was that income, the property was purchased for rupees 2 lakh, then income in subsequent year for that property was being earned. The assessee claimed that this property did not belong to me. This belongs to a trust created by my wife, and therefore income from therefrom is also not belonging to me and not taxable in my hands. The court did not accept it, considering circumstances that his wife could not have earned this 2 lakh rupees and would have purchased the property. Therefore, this could not be the correct legal position, and it is income is taxable in the assessee's hands. Then there is a very important decision of Sumit Dayal versus CIT, in case all the persons who are there dealing with income tax, the department is very frequently applying this Sumiti Dayal case. It case also deal with the circumstances. The courts have observed that we have to take the all probabilities and the surrounding circumstances have to be taken. In this case, the assessee claimed that I had the income from race sources, and there was race sources were won by the lady at different cities. So there was almost all the same circumstance, same time. The race was won by the lady. So the courts held that this was not possible for the lady to, because she had never done in the past, and therefore she could not earn this money, and all the circumstances have to be taken into consideration. So just to show that these have been the circumstances where under in the context of section 68 I have picked up these three Supreme Court decisions, but otherwise there is a long list of the cases which from which we can develop a principle that section 68 has been applied in these particular circumstances like this. Now coming to the another section which the though 115 BBE mentions section 68, 69, 69A, 69B, 69C, 69D, but assessing officers in all the assessments have applied either section 68 or 69A. So this is why I am giving more emphasis on these two sections only. Now section 69A of the Income Tax Act reads that where in any financial year the assessee is found to be the owner of any money, bullion, jewelry or other valuable article, and such money, bullion, jewelry or valuable article is not recorded in the books of account, if any, maintained by him for any source of income, and the assessee offers no explanation about the nature and source of acquisition of the money, bullion, jewelry or other valuable article, or the explanation offered by him is not, in the opinion of the assessing officer, satisfactory, the money and the value of the bullion, jewelry, etc. is to be deemed to be income of the assessee. Meaning thereby there are two things very important in this section, that assessee is found to be the owner. Now if something I have already deposited in my bank account on account of cash deposits, how the assessing officer can say that I have found you to be the owner? I have myself disclosed in my books, I have myself stating that this is the money belong to me and I have deposited in my bank account. So the first phrase of this, that found to be the owner, is not applicable according to me. Second phrase again is not recorded in the books of account. I have already recorded in my books of account. Therefore, there is no question of applying section 69A also. That is what my view as far as the section 69A is concerned. Now, going further, so on the basis of these two sections, 68 or 69A, my view is that 115 BBE is not applicable. Neither the provision 68 nor 69 is applicable, because amount has already been recorded in my books of account and I have considered the same for declaring my income in the return. Similarly, provisions section 69, 69B, 69C, 69D are also not applicable, because they belong either to the investments made by me, which is not the case here, or the expenditure incurred by me, or the amount borrowed in by way of hundi, etc., which is not the case here. So therefore, on the basis of this legal provisions or legal language of the sections, my view is that section 115 BB is not applicable and no tax can be charged under this section. Now, going further, that broadly there are three types of assessees who had deposited the cash in the banks. First category is that assessee is carrying on the business and maintaining books of account. That is category one. So we are primarily dealing with this category of the assessees. Second category can be that assessee is carrying on the business, but his income is accessible as a presumptive basis, that is 8% case of retailer, etc. and all that. Then third category is that their persons are individuals and not carrying on the business and he had deposited the money in the bank account. These are the three categories of the assessees in which this issue has arisen, and the difficulty or the assessments are there which have to be contested in appeals. Now going further, that in case of first category of the assessees who are carrying on the business, cash has been deposited, as I already mentioned, on three accounts. One is he's saying that this is sale proceeds, either on 8th November or maybe prior to that month or maybe last month or for any period. The money is coming from the sales made by the assessee. That is first category of the cases. Second category of the cases is that cash balances. He says that I have been holding the cash balance and this money has been deposited in the bank out of my cash balance. Third category is that he says that so and so has been my debtor He has paid me the money. I have deposited the money on receipt from him, and this is the recovery from the debtors. These are broadly the three categories in which the sale cash has been deposited by the persons who are carrying on the business. That is what we are assuming, and we are proceeding on this basis assumption. Now, the issue is that assessments have already been done in December 2019. Appeals have also been filed before the Commission Appeals. Now, as soon as the lockdown will be lifted, that appeals will be fixed before the Commissioner for arguing the same. So now the important issue at this stage is that what arguments or contentions we should take in appeals. Grounds have already been taken. In fact, I'll suggest that in case particular grounds which are considered to be appropriate arising out of this discussion have not been taken in the appeal, the additional ground should be taken, and the application for admission of additional ground should be filed before Commission Appeal. Broadly, I have mentioned here what arguments we should take in appeal before the Commissioner. The first argument comes that provisions section 68 are not applicable because I have already entered the amount in my books of account as sale or cash balance or debtors, and therefore there is no question of applicability of section 68. This ground has to be, contention has to be taken in case the assessing officer has applied section 68 for making the addition under reference. Then going further, one has to argue that income has already been shown in my profit and loss account. If it is a sale, it is already credited in my profit and loss account. If it is a debtor, it is already credited by way of sale either in this year or in the last year, and therefore income has already been considered. If it is a cash balance, then again it is already entered in the books of account. So in all the three circumstances, the amounts have already been considered to my profit and loss account, and the income has been determined accordingly. So if, say for example, I have deposited 50 lakhs rupees and I say this has been my sale on 7th or 8th November, for example, then I have already credited to my profit and loss account. I have deposited 50 lakhs rupees. In my profit and loss account credit side, already sale has been increased by me by 50 lakhs rupees, and whatsoever has been the stock balance with me, that has been adjusted with the sale. So on that basis, the income has already been determined. So income arising from the sale has already been included in my P&L account and the taxable income. In case addition is made further by the assessing officer of this amount of 50 lakhs rupees, this will result in double addition. Not only that, the addition had to be made only on account of the profit, not for the whole amount of the sale. And therefore, this has been the wrongly made by the assessing officer. And therefore, this argument has to be taken before the assessing officer that this wrong addition has been, addition cannot be made by him in terms of section 68 of the Act. So it has already been accounted for in my books of account. Now, going further, the books of account cannot be rejected, but because in certain cases, the assessing officers, though by and large they have not rejected the books of account, but in certain cases, books of accounts have also been rejected by the assessing officer. So in those cases, the argument has to be taken that my books of account cannot be rejected for the reason that I have included everything and accounted for everything in my books of account. And therefore, there is no question of rejecting my books of account, and result arising from the books, it should be accepted by the assessing officer that is wrongly been rejected. So that is what the ground has to be, contention has to be taken. Going further, then in case the assessing officer has applied section 69A, then it has to be argued that section 69A is not applicable, as I have already mentioned that I was found neither the owner because I have myself deposited the money, and further the amount has already been recorded in the books of account. Therefore, both the conditions 69A are not fulfilled, and therefore no addition can be made under section 69A. Now, apart from the legal technicalities which are arising from the language of the section, it is also important that we should give necessary evidence. We must have already given before the assessing officer, but if not given already, then we should file the additional evidence also if need be before the commissioner under rule 46A of the income tax rules by making a separate application that so and so evidence were not submitted or could not be submitted because of shortage of time or anything, because in most of the cases the assessing officer had not given sufficient time also to the assessees. That is a very important aspect as far as these assessments are concerned. In fact, in certain cases, notices were issued in the late hours, and next day, 1 day or 2 days time was given. So in those circumstances, the application for admission of additional evidence should be given. If in case the additional evidences have already been submitted, then we should submit a paper book containing all those things. So we must prove on the basis of evidence like stock register, our cash book, cash balance, debtors balance, and other things, that these were the amounts receivable by us from so and so or from so and so region, and therefore these are the business receipts and cannot be assessed under section 68 or 69A of the Act. Now further, a very important aspect in this regard is the instructions of the CBDT, which were number 3 of 2017, dated 21st February 2017. These instructions are very, very, very important. In fact, they, on the basis of these instructions itself, in many cases, the addition deserves to be deleted. Because firstly, the instruction says that assessing officer is required to take into consideration the record of the assessee, such as stock register, bank statement, sales tax returns, monthly sales summary, possibility of backdating cash sales or the fictitious sales, etc., before arriving at a conclusion in this regard. So in most of the cases, the assessing officer have neither considered these documents, or even if they have considered in a casual way, and they have made the addition without discussing all these things in the assessment order. Second, another aspect very important arising from these instructions are that these instructions say the cash balance as was on 31st March 2016 cannot be considered to be the addition in the case of the person. Further, it goes, this instruction goes that in case the assessee provide the PAN number of the person from whom the money has been received. Say I say that money has been received from so and so debtor. Then issue arises that the instruction says that assessing officer required to verify from that person whether he has given the money. And in case he confirms, yes, I have given, then there is no question of making the addition. So in none of the cases, probably this inquiry has also been made by the assessing officer. Now going further, it is also a condition here that before making the addition, the assessing officer should get approval of the higher authorities, that is additional commissioner and the commissioner, as far as the addition before closing the verification and taking a view as regards the addition in the case of the assessee. In most of the cases, or I can say even 100% cases, this approval has not been taken by the assessing officer. So we can file an application for inspection of record, or we can see the record on the website also, and we can require the assessing officer to give us a approve whether he has taken an approval or not under the instructions. So on this basis, we should argue in the appeal that instructions approval was not taken by him before making the addition from the higher authorities. These are the broad contentions are made. And one more contention we can take, that in case the addition is to be made, then he should recast my profit and loss account and exclude the amount from my P&L account. And then to that extent, my income will go down, and then make this addition. That will be the alternative and last contention, that even if assuming that addition is to be made, then the amount which I have already been credited to my P&L account, kindly exclude that. So my income will go down by exactly by the same amount which I have already declared. So then there will be issue will only regarding difference in the tax rate. Issue will not be as far as the quantum is concerned. So in the example I gave, I deposited 50 lakh rupees. He says, no, this is from some undisclosed sources. I say this is my sales receipts. So if I do my sale, he says sale is not possible. Then I'll say that I have already credited the sale in my account. So kindly reduce my turnover or sales, and then my profit will go down as per my profit and loss account, and then make the further addition. That is the another most important argument here. Now I have taken certain case law in regard to the additions arising from the cash sales or even the cash bank balance deposits and all that, to show that in most of the cases, wherever the additions were made by the assessing officer in the past, as I said, generally the section 68 was not applied, but even in certain circumstances, section 68 was applied by the assessing officer. Then court's view has been that an amount which has already been accounted for in the books of account cannot be considered to be an addition under section 68 of the Act. So this is the case of Delhi High Court in the case of Kailash Jewelry House. So in this case, the assessee had deposited cash of 24 lakhs, and he claimed that this is on the ground of the sales made by him. So the tribunal CIT as well as tribunal deleted the addition, and High Court also confirmed that all the entries were duly disclosed in the books and it was as per the stock register, cash position, etc., and the bank, and therefore no addition could be made in the circumstances. There is another judgment of the Bombay High Court in case of the RB Jassaram Fatehchand sugar mills, sugar department. Here also, because now presently in most of the cases, the assessing officer has raised the issue that you provide the address of the persons to whom the cash sales have been made. In this case also, this situation had arisen. The assessing officer had asked, you give the address of the buyers. So the High Court, Bombay High Court observed that once the cash transaction is there, where delivery of the goods is taken against the cash payment, it is hardly necessary for the seller to bother about the name and address of the purchaser. So this is directly on this aspect. There is another decision I have taken of the MP High Court in case of Jora Flour Mills. Here, the addition was made, the survey was in the SSC's case, and in the survey, a slip was found which mentioned that sale of Bardana of rupees 10 lakh. And there was cash balance of rupees 10 lakh also. The SSC said that this cash balance is arising out of this sale of Bardana, and this is the subsequently he accounted for in the books of account on account of sale of Bardana. So, but the assessing officer made the addition of rupees 10 lakh in addition to the result of the profit loss account. Now, in these circumstances, it was held that the addition could not be made. This has resulted in double addition because the SSC has already accounted for the sale. There is another decision of Gujarat High Court in the case of the Vishal Exports. Here, the SSC was an exporter. The assessing officer had received an information that there was export sales, bogus export sales to the extent of 70 lakhs. The SSC had already accounted for the sales in the books. So in these circumstances, the issue arose whether the addition of 70 lakhs could be made under Section 68 of the Act. The Honorable Gujarat High Court held that no addition can be made and Section 68 is not applicable because the SSC had already accounted for this turnover in the profit loss account and therefore no further addition under Section 68 could be made. There is another decision of the ITAT Delhi, that is April 2019. Here, it was a case of the SSC was importing mobile phones from China, and when the consignment used to be in transit, he used to sell that consignment on the high sea sale basis, and the all sale proceeds were being received by him in cash. And after he was receiving the cash, he was depositing the bank account, and then payment was being made by him to this China party against the purchases made by him. He himself was having very meager financial position to make any purchases or sale like that. So in these circumstances, the assessing officer issued the notices to the parties to whom sales were shown. In most of the cases, notices came back with remarks where the postal authorities the left or not exist. The assessing officer made the addition in the assessment of the person to the extent of 59 crores against all the cash deposits made by him in the bank account, against which he had made the payment to the party to China for import of the goods. The tribunal held that since all the cash amounts have been received against the sales and he had been importing the mobiles from the China party and everything is on record, import is there, custom clearance is there, and therefore this cannot be assumed that this money is to be added under Section 68 of the Act. Section 68 cannot be applied. There is a recent decision of the Kanpur Organic Private Limited versus Deputy CIT. This is just came in the month of January 2020 of the Lucknow ITT bench. In the facts of this case, the issue has been that there was search in the case of the SSC, and during the course of search, the SSC was a diary was found from the SSC, and where the unrecorded sales to the extent of 1.51 crores were mentioned. The SSC in his statement given to the investigating party stated that he has not recorded these cash sales made by him in the books of account. The assessing, but subsequently after the search, he entered those sales in the profit loss account and determined the profit accordingly on that basis. The assessing officer, notwithstanding the transactions were already recorded at the subsequently as a sale and profit was determined on that basis, made the addition under Section 69A of the Act. Though this case is prior to the assessment year, the 17-18, for which we are talking now, which is the year for demonetization, this relates to assessment year 16-17. But the assessing officer applied section 69A and also applied the higher rate of tax of section 115 BBE. Though a rate at that time was lower, not the rate of 60% had come from assessment year 17-18, not from 16-17, but still at that stage, the certain conditions were there that no expenditure, etc., was being allowed, and therefore, sorry. So the addition was made by him. The commissioner also upheld the addition. Before the tribunal, the assessee took a specific additional ground to the effect that provisions of section 69A could not be applied in the facts and circumstances of the case in relation to unrecorded sales which have been duly recorded subsequently in the profit and loss account, and profit has been determined on that basis. Since section 69A is not applicable, section 115 BBE is not applicable. This aspect was raised before the tribunal by way of additional ground. Since it was a legal ground, the Honorable Tribunal admitted the additional ground and adjudicated the same. Tribunal held, considering the facts and the statement recorded during the course of search, that this amount was representing the unrecorded sales. These sales have already been recorded in the books of account, and therefore provisions section 69A cannot be applied, and consequently provisions section 115 BBE of the Act are not applicable. This is the latest and the direct decision on the aspect we are discussing, which helps us in the circumstances that section 69A is not applicable in regard to the sales, cash sales, and section 115 BB is also not applicable. Going further, that I have picked up few cases as regards the bank balance which has been deposited in the bank. Now this is again decision of Delhi High Court in the case of Kulwant Rai. Here the assessee had deposited the amount in the bank, so the assessing officer made the addition on that account. The Honorable Tribunal as well as the High Court had deleted the addition on the basis that the cash balances were there, and the Honorable High Court further observed that assessing officer has not been able to show that cash withdrawn were utilized for some other purpose. Therefore, addition could not be made. There is one further obligation has been imposed on the assessing officer that he should explain, he should state that where the cash balance which the assessee is stating to have been withdrawing from the bank has been utilized. Therefore, addition cannot be made. There is another decision of Lucknow bench in this regard, where there has been number of deposits. There have been time to time withdrawals as well as deposit, and aggregate deposit during the year have been to the extent of 1,35 lakhs. Here also, the tribunal considered the facts of the case and held that on every date when deposit was made, there was cash balance available, and the assessing officer has made the addition without fully examining the record, and he just on a suspicious basis he has made the addition, which cannot be the ground for making the addition, and therefore no addition could be made in respect of cash deposits which are duly reflected in the bank account. Now there is another decision of Delhi bench of ITT in case of Nita Breja. Here also the deposit was made, and following Delhi High Court in the case of Kulwant Rai, it has been held that even if there has been some time gap between the withdrawal and the deposit, the addition cannot be made on this account. But there is another decision of Punjab Haryana High Court which is against. Here there was time gap of 2-3 months. Here the 14 lakh was deposited in the bank account, and there was withdrawal of 33 withdrawals earlier, and all the withdrawals were of a very small amounts, except 2 withdrawals of 2 lakh each. So in that circumstances, the Punjab Haryana High Court held that since you were making the small withdrawals from the bank, and there was hardly any withdrawal of the major amount, and you had deposited the total amount of 14 lakh, therefore it is not probable that you would be keeping the money and accumulating in your hands after withdrawing the small amounts from the bank. So in those circumstances, the Punjab High Court did not accept the plea of the assessee. Now, this is, so far we have discussed the cases where the assessee has been carrying on the business and he was maintaining books of account. So in those circumstances, the addition cannot be made in terms of section 68 or 69 and all that. Now coming to the case where the assessee is carrying on the business, but income is assessable on presumptive basis. In that case, we have the two decisions, one of Punjab Haryana High Court and one is Cochin Bench of ITT, which says that if the amount is on account of business receipts and that is within the limit provided for presumptive assessment, then it is to be presumed that receipt is on account of business and therefore no addition can be made on account of cash deposit. I may state that I have only just picked up the few cases. There may be number of other cases because neither they have been so much time nor I have made the full efforts to search all the cases. But I am discussing the principles. These are the principles. On these principles, we can go ahead and we can further search for the cases on these accounts. Now, the third category of this person is that assessee is an individual and he is not carrying on the business, and then cash deposits have been made by him in the bank account. Here in this case also, the pleas are available to the assessee. Firstly, and in relation to section 68, there are certain decisions which say that bank passbook or bank account is not the books of account of the assessee, and therefore any credit entry found in the bank statement is not to be considered as addition for the purpose of section 68 of the Act, because there is no credit entry in the books of account maintained by the assessee. Though there is some decisions against also, but this is the position by and large which is there in the tribunal. Now, another aspect of section 69A is that again we will have the same argument that there is no question of finding me to be the owner of that particular asset, because I am myself deposited in bank account, and therefore it cannot be said that department has found me to be the owner. I am already the owner. I have declared this to, that I am the owner of this money. And secondly, I am not maintaining my books of account, but I have already deposited in my bank account, which is reflected in my passbook. Therefore, there is no question or not recorded in the books of account. So therefore, section 69A is not applicable. So in this background, we have to contest that section 115 BB is not applicable. As I already mentioned, then section 115 BBE earlier was having 30% rate. This amendment was made after demonetization. At the time of demonetization, in most of the cases, the assessee has made the deposit in bank account, considering that at the most we will have to make payment at the rate of 30%. But subsequently, the law was amended, ordinance came, then subsequently the act became this act, and it was provided that rate of tax will be 60%. In addition to that, 25% with surcharge rate, and then education cess, which works out to 77.4%. In addition to that, penalties also leviable at the rate of 10%. And then assessing officers have also charged interest under section 234B and 234C. In regard to this, first thing is that we have to argue that these provisions are not applicable, and therefore there is no question of taxing at the higher rate in terms of section 115 BBE of the Act. Notwithstanding that, we have also to argue that interest has been wrongly charged. As regards the chargeability of interest under section 234B and 234C are concerned, section 234C is very clear. Language of the section itself provides that interest is chargeable with reference to the returned income. So once returned income, I have filed the return and I have paid the advance tax on the basis of that, no interest can be charged on 234C of the Act. As far as the chargeability of interest on 234B is concerned, though there is a little doubt that our plea will succeed in view of the language of the section, but still I'll suggest that we must take the plea before the Commission appeal that interest is not chargeable in 234B, also for the reason that I was supposed to pay advance tax in particular income which was estimated by me based on my books of account. This addition could not be expected, and therefore there is no question of making the charging interest on 234B considering default in payment of advance tax by me. So that is the plea should be taken. We have to see what happens in the consequences, because earlier this plea was being taken, but subsequently there have been the decision against us which says that no, this is a mandatory charge and interest is chargeable. But I will suggest that in considering special facts and circumstances, we must raise this plea again in the context of interest on 234. taking the interest, etc., and penalty, in most of the cases, the liability has gone up to 110%, in fact, much more than the amount of deposit and all that. Now, in the context of the increase in the rate from 30% to 60% in section 115 BBE, the another view, certain professionals are of the view that this amendment is of a retrospective nature, because when we deposited the money in the bank in November 2016, the rate was 30%. Subsequently, rate has been increased to 60%. And this rate has been done with effect from 1/4/2017. So this should not apply to the period prior to the amendment made in December 2016, and therefore any deposit or money earned prior to that should not be subject to 60% rate, should be subject to only 30% rate. That is the plea taken by many professionals and view being expressed by many, think that this is a retrospective nature. And on this aspect, a writ petition has already been filed in the Gujarat High Court, on which notice has also been issued, but it has not come up after that because of the lockdown, and this will come up subsequently. So we'll have to wait for the outcome of the Gujarat High Court as far as this aspect is concerned. But as far as my personal view in regard to the matter is concerned, though it is good that plea has already been raised, and let us hope that the favorable view comes from Gujarat High Court. But as far as my personal view is concerned, this amendment cannot be said to be retrospective, and it cannot be said that higher rate is not applicable to assessment year 17-18. Reasoning for that is that as far as the retrospective amendment is concerned, the law is well settled by the Supreme Court repeatedly that legislature has the power to make amendment retrospectively, and therefore there is no question of saying that retrospective amendment is not valid. That is number one as far as the retrospective amendment is concerned. Second part is that amended rate is applicable from 1/4/2017, that is assessment year 17-18. Our law is well settled that provisions of the act as well as the rate in force as on 1st April of the relevant assessment year are applicable. If we see the definition of the rate also, it provides that rate as provided in the Finance Act, and Finance Act for the relevant year provides that for that particular assessment year, rate as provided in Part A of the schedule are applicable. Part A provides the rate which are applicable to the relevant year, Part 2 provides the rate for TDS, and Part 3 provides the rate for advance tax and case of salaries. So Part 1, which is applicable to the assessment year 2017-18, that was incorporating this rate, and therefore this cannot be said that rate is not applicable to assessment year 17-18 of 60%, only 30% rate is applicable. That is what, but subject to the, now since the matter is also already before the Gujarat High Court, let us hope that favorable decision comes from Gujarat High Court. But that is my personal view as far as the legal understanding is concerned. Now, in this background, we have to contest that additions are not valid, and therefore provisions of section 115 BBE are not applicable, and interest cannot also not be charged. Now, the third aspect, which is very important, so far we have discussed the basic provisions of the law, then circumstances and the case law, and third aspect, which is very, 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 very important, the notification and the government's act which deals with demonetization. Before coming to this part, I just mentioned, I may show subsequently, but I may mention that before this demonetization, most of the people there may be aware or may have gone through that. Demonetization was done in 78 with effect from 16th January 2078. The currency notes of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 were discontinued, and notification date was issued, providing that the currency notes with effect from the 16th January 2078, the date of demonetization, will cease to be the legal tender. And then the notification further provided that no person after that date will receive or pay or give or transfer this currency notes to other person. This second phrase, which has been there in that notification, is missing from the notification dated 8th November 2016. I'll explain detail in this day, and this notification, this not restriction on transfer comes later on, in fact, in the context of this particular demonetization. Let us go further on this basis. This notification dated 8th November 2016 provided that the specified bank notes shall cease to be the legal tender with effect from 9th November 2016. This notification only provided that this will cease to be the legal tender. Now we have to see subsequently, we'll see what is the effect of provided that we can deposit the bank notes held by us in our bank account, and credit will be given by the banks to the full extent of the amount of the specified notes. Then third very important aspect as far as we are concerned, it says value of the specified bank notes tendered may be credited to a third party account and provided specific authorization, meaning thereby that in case of the assessee, they say assessee has to take a money from a person X, the X can also deposit the money in the account of the assessee on the basis of authorization, because in many cases it has happened that business assessee has been of the Ahmedabad, he had to receive money from the person in Surat. The Surat debtor asked the person in Ahmedabad, the businessman, that can I deposit in your bank account, and he deposited the money in the bank account of the assessee in the Surat. So the third person, this specific this notification is specifically provided the third person can also deposit the money in your bank account. So that is very important aspect. So I'll extend this logic further. If he can deposit in my bank account, and if other way around, I take the money from him and then deposit in my bank account, then why I can't do it? If he can himself deposit in my bank account, then I can also take the money from him and deposit in my bank account. That is what we can extend the logic further. Now, in this context, we have to go further to the Reserve Bank of India Act, what the Act provided. Two sections I have taken for this purpose. One is section 26 of the Act, which provides the legal tender character of the note. Subsection 1 of this section says that subject to the provision of subsection 2, every bank note shall be legal tender at any place in India in payment or on account for the amount expressed therein, and shall be guaranteed by the central government. Two aspects mentioned herein, that the any currency note shall be the legal tender and it shall be guaranteed by the central government. Now subsection 2, on recommendation of the central government may by notification of the Gazette of India declare that with effect from such date as may be specified in the notification, any series of the bank notes of any denomination shall cease to be the legal tender. What the notification was issued? Notification was issued in terms of subsection 2 of section 26, and it was declared that it ceased to be the legal tender. But as for the second part of subsection 1, that is shall be guaranteed by the central government, that is still continued after 8th of November 2016 also. We'll come to that part also subsequently. Subsequently, this guarantee has been withdrawn. Now, section 34 specifically deals with the guarantee part. This subsection 34 provides that liability of the issue department, that is RBI, shall be an amount equal to the total of the amount of currency notes of the Government of India and bank notes for the time being in circulation. Whatsoever the currency has been in circulation, that the Reserve Bank of India or the Government of India to that extent will be holding the liability against the public, against the currency notes in circulation, meaning thereby that all the currency which is in circulation, the liability is there of the central government to that extent. Now, after this another law act was passed, which is known as Specified Bank Notes Cessation of Liability Act 2017. This was passed in February 2017, and this act provides that this act says it shall be deemed to have come into force on 31st of December 2016. Very important. This act came into force with effect from 31st December 2016, not from 8th November 2016, which is very important for our purpose. Now, the subsection 2 of this act further provides that in this act, the unless context otherwise requires, appointed date means 31st December 2016. Then further, the grace period means the period to be specified by the central government by notification, during which the specified bank notes can be deposited in accordance with this act. Now, grace period here, actually, if we remember that up to 31st of December 2016, anybody could go through any bank wherever he was having the account and he could deposit the currency notes there. After 31st December, the one had to go to the Reserve Bank or the branches of the Reserve Bank notified by the bank, and we could deposit the currency notes in those branches along with the particular form which were there, explaining why we could not deposit before 31st of December 2016. That period is a grace period, in fact. So grace period was notified in terms of clause B in case of residents of India up to 31st March 2017, and in case of NRIs to the extent of 30th June 2017. So any NRI could deposit the money up to 30th of June 2017, and the SSC residents could deposit up to 31st of March 2017. So that is the grace period. So up to 31st. So this act appointed date was 31st December. Then up to the grace period also one could deposit the money. Now for going further in this act, subsection 3 is very important for our purpose. We have to read this very carefully. On and from the appointed date, notwithstanding anything contained in the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 or any other law for the time being enforced, the specified bank notes which have ceased to be the legal tender in view of the notification of the Government of India in the Ministry of Finance number so and so dated 8th November 2016, issued under subsection 2 of section 26 of Reserve Bank of India Act 34, shall cease to be the liability of the Reserve Bank of India under section 34 and shall cease to have the guarantee of the central government under subsection 1 of section 26 of the said act. Again, let us understand it this subsection because this is very important. This is on and from the appointed date, which is 31st December 2016. Notwithstanding anything contained in so the currency notes which were made ceased to be the legal tender in terms of subsection 2 of section 26. The Reserve Bank shall cease to be have a liability or guarantee against them with effect from the appointed date in terms of subsection 1 of section 26, meaning thereby that though the currency notes were held to be the ceased to be have the legal tender in terms of subsection 2 of section 26 with effect from 8th November 2016, but the Government of India continued to have the liability against them. Same were guaranteed by the government till 31st December 2016, and the liability of the government had ceased only after 31st December 2016. Therefore, those notes were having full backup and guarantee of the government till December 2016. That is very important. Going further, subsection 5 of this act says on and from the appointed date, that is 31st December, no person shall knowingly or voluntarily hold, transfer or receive any specified note. So restriction has been put only after 31st December 2016, that is the appointed date, on holding, transfer or receipt of the specified note. So before 31st December 2016, there has been no restriction on receipt of the old currency notes or giving a old currency notes to the another person. That is very, very, very important. Now further it goes. The provisions of section this provided that nothing contained in this section shall prohibit holding of the specified note by any person up to the expiry of the grace period. It further extends that even up to the expiry of grace period, which I mentioned up to 31st of March in case of residents and 30th June in case of non-residents of 17, one could hold the notes Therefore, there was no restriction, provision of will not apply. And after the expiry of the grace period, what will happen? That in after the expiry of grace period, you cannot hold more than 10 notes irrespective of their denomination. So I can hold, even after the expiry of grace period, 10 notes of 500 rupees or of 1000 rupees without any restriction. I was permitted to that. Or I could hold 25 notes for the purpose of study or research. So after the grace period, that is 31st March 2017 or 30th June 2017, this restriction came on holding the notes by me. And transfer I could make only up to that 31st December. Restriction came only after appointed date, that is 31st December 2016. So there was no restriction on receipt or transfer of the note. Now, penalty provisions also. There has been no penalty as far as any consequences if I have been receiving up to December or subsection section 7 of this provides that whoever contravenes the provision of subsection 5, subsection 5 has come into operation only after the appointed date, shall be punishable with the fine which may extend to 10,000 rupees or 5 times the amount of face value of the specified notes involved in the contravention, whichever is higher. So this contravention or penalty provisions also came only after 31st December 2016. This was the appointed date. Otherwise, there have been no penalty, no prosecution, no consequences of any receipt of the currency notes prior to that date. Now, just to understand, though the RBI Act or any act doesn't contain any language or any definition of the legal tender, what is legal tender or non-legal tender, but just to understand that, I have just gone through the definitions and I have tried to find out how this term has been defined for the various purpose. So legal tender is a form of money that court of law requires to recognize as a satisfactory payment for any money debt. Each jurisdiction determines what is the legal tender. So in our case, legal tender is the currency notes. But essentially, it is anything which often, when offered in payment of a debt, extinguishes the debt. There is no obligation on the creditor to accept the tendered payment. But the act of tendering the payment in a legal tender discharges the debt. So still, even if the currency notes have been the legal tender, so this is only the legal tender also. Being a legal tender, the effect is only that if you can offer to somebody, that it is to be there. But still the creditor can refuse to accept. Or when you are selling the goods, you can refuse to accept the legal tender. So it is not that if you do not accept, then something wrong will happen or some consequences are there. Then what is the non-legal tender? Non-legal tender is a form of the money which is generally accepted but legally is not bound to accept it, such as the checks, bank drafts, bill of exchange, postal order, etc. are not legal tender and accepted only at the option of the creditors. So these are non-legal tenders. And in fact, these days, if you know that cryptocurrency, that is in prevalence. So that is not a legal tender, but that is very much prevalent. Even in India also, it is being accepted and all that. So the still restriction, etc. have not come fully and all that. So these are the definition of the legal tender. So in this light, what the conclusion arises from all the reading of the notification, and as I mentioned, that notification, earlier there has been another notification in 78, which was specifically providing that the it will not be deemed to be the legal tender, that specifically provided that it will be deemed to be the one will not transfer from that date. The old Act of 78 specifically provided that high denomination banknotes to be seized to be the legal tender. That I'm reading from that particular act. On the expiry of the 16th day of January 2017, all high denomination banknotes shall notwithstand anything contained in section 26 of the Reserve Bank of India ceased to be the legal tender in payment or on account of any place. Then provision, there was another subsection 4 of that act provided that prohibition that no person shall after 16th day of January 2078 transfer to the possession of another person or receive into his possession from the another person any high denomination banknotes. So that specifically provided that no person could transfer or accept that note at that stage. So now this is what I have completed.
Thank you, Gupta sir. Once
Yes.
again, I am very much thankful on behalf of all members of NSC and
So
present
now,
members.
now we can take the questions whatsoever are
Yes, sir.
there.
Yes, sir. First of all, sir, here that key all members are requesting to provide this PPT.
No
if it is
problem. No
possible.
problem. You give me your, I can send you on your WhatsApp or on your mail. There is no
Absolutely.
difficulty. There is no
Absolutely.
difficulty at all.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Now, next question is from Mr. Rupendra Kansal from
Yes.
Punjab. Kansal ji.
I have
Yes.
few
Yes.
questions.
Yes,
Sir,
please.
I
Yes,
have few
please.
questions on this.
Yes, Mr. Yes, Mr. Kansal.
Any system conducted after the demonetization period,
Yes.
some stock has been surrendered on account of that survey to buy the peace of mind. And the entire stock surrendered has been shown in the income tax return trading account. Whether
Correct.
that will attract section 115 BBE?
Yes, that will attract, because in that case, when the survey held, you have yourself surrendered that this stock is undisclosed income. So that amount is not reflected at that stage in your books of account. So that will come in section 69A, because that is the amount has been found to be, you were found to be the owner, and you are accepting that this is not recorded in your books of account. Therefore, in that situation, section 69A and 115BB will be attracted.
And in the PPT, you have
Yes.
also discussed about the third option, the person who are not regular income tax assessee.
Yes.
I'm talking mainly of because most of the editions have been made of the agriculture people who
Yes.
have obtained agriculture limit. There is a regular feature in Punjab, might be in other states also. They are getting limit. They withdraw it on the
Yes.
very first day of getting the limit in wheat season and in paddy season.
Yes.
Now they have deposited back, and
Right.
in many cases the department has added back into their income.
You see, again, in these cases, firstly, the legal terminology that section 68 is not applicable because he was not maintaining books of account. So that aspect will be there. But in any case, on the basis of facts also, we have to prove that, because in case of agriculture, you know very well that this always this sort of a difficulty comes. Always the assessing officer asks that this is not your agriculture income, this may be this. So you have to prove with the record of the your agriculture land and etc. other things that this has been your income. But you may be saying that this is the recovery of the sale proceeds of the last year's proceeds and you have been keeping in your house or whatsoever it is. So you have to satisfy on that basis.
And sir, according to your lecture,
Yes.
means after 8th of November,
yes,
that means from 9th December to 30th, 9th November to 30th December,
yes.
the old currency notes were legal tender?
You see, I have made a distinction between two things. The notification says it will cease to be the legal tender. Now, check is not a legal tender. But do you accept? You accept. So in the same way, if I am accepting the note, old currency notes, and then I am depositing in my bank account, I have not done anything wrong. Check you are accepting and depositing in your bank account. So there has been the specific distinction I have read between the two notifications of 78 and of this 2016. 78 notification specifically had the two sections separately. One says it ceases to be the legal tender, and then subsection 4 of that notification specifically there. You will not transfer. Here, that notification has come, that law has come with effect from 31st of December 2016. So prior to that, there has been no restriction on my giving or receipt of the old currency notes. That is what.
And my last question,
Yeah,
in many of the cases,
yes,
not only related with section 115 BBE, even
yes,
in case of bogus purchase,
correct,
the AOs have not mentioned in their
yes,
assessment order any charging section on the basis of which they have made the addition. Is this legal tenable that without mentioning they are making the additions?
You see, that is very, very well legal tenable because each section has a different scope altogether. Section 68 may you may be having you have recorded in the books of account, there is the credit entry. 69A, this is not recorded in the books of account. So each section has its own separate scope. But as far as this particular aspect is concerned, we have to very tactfully argue the appeal before the commissioner as far as the commissioner is concerned, because commissioner has the wide powers. If you take this contention before the commissioner that he has not mentioned the section, he will specify the section, and then it will be difficult to take this contention before the tribunal. So tactfully, we should avoid making a specific plea before the commissioner that he has not mentioned the section. We can say this addition is not called for. Let this plea be taken before the tribunal, because this is a legal plea. This can be taken at any stage. So this is what my session is.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very
Any
much,
other-
sir. Now, next is Mr. Virendra Arora Moga. He is also from Punjab. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, yes.
Yes,
please
Mr. Arora.
continue,
Yes.
So my query is that in one of my case of the demonetization period,
Yes.
assessment has been made and some cash found to be ingenuine, and that was added, and tax under section 115B was imposed, and the assessee has even deposited tax. Now
Correct.
the AO has also issued 10% penalty notice.
Correct.
Is this optional for the AO to impose the penalty, or it's compulsory or optional for the AO?
Again, as per the language of the section is
Already
concerned,
tax has been crossed 100%, more than 100%.
that is what I said. That in most of the cases, along with the interest under 234B and C, this is going beyond the 100%.
Yeah.
So as for the language of the section of 271A C, there is no option. It says that if this amount is covered under section 115 BBE, then penalty is leviable. So we have to somehow raise the contention that 115 BBE is not applicable. Then only we can save from the penalty. Or let the government, because the pressure is there, it is being suggested that under this scheme, Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, the government should give some relaxation as far as this sort of cases are there.
But
If
we
we
have
get-
not filed appeal. No? We have not filed appeal. We have paid the taxes. For Vivad scheme, we have to go in appeal. But we have not gone in appeal. We have already paid the taxes.
Okay. So you have already paid the tax at the
Yeah,
rate of
yeah.
77%.
And with the interest, that crosses 100%.
Right. So then I think there is no option available. There is no
Okay, you
option.
will levy penalty.
You can take your chance by filing 264, but 264 maybe it says it should be pending on that date.
No,
264 also.
we have not filed any appeal or application so far.
So that is a problem.
Okay,
will
sir.
miss.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you, sir. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Next.
Next is Mr. Anil Bajpai. Mr. Anil, are you there?
Yes,
Please continue.
Yes, Mr. Bajpai, please.
sir, good evening.
Good evening. Yes.
Sir, my question is this. if
Speak
someone
little
has
loudly,
got a
please.
notice-
Mr.
Little loudly,
Bajpai,
please.
you are
Sir,
not
please,
audible. Please.
Sir, I have said my question. Please read your, if my voice is not.
No, you can please, you can speak. Yes.
Okay. Sir, if someone has got the notice of cash deposit during the demonetization period and he has not submitted his reply till date, then what should you do?
No, Mala, you received the notice based on the deposit made by you in bank account,
Ji,
and you had not replied.
yes.
So the
What
about your- what about your returns and assessments?
Returns has already been submitted?
Return was submitted. It was not taken in scrutiny.
No.
Then it's over.
No,
Then
no
only
notice has been received of this scrutiny.
so that's very good. You are lucky enough,
Okay.
because now there is no issue. Assessment's time has already been over. Now, except
Ji.
for 147, nothing can be done.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, please.
Thank you, sir. Another member is Mr. Shailesh Mahesuriya. Are you
हाँ
there,
जी,
Mr. Shailesh?
यस सर
Please
Yes,
continue.
Mr. Salesh,
Please
please.
सर मेरा क्लाइंट जो अभी असेसमेंट लास्ट ईयर हुआ था
Uh-huh.
उसमें एडिशन असेसिंग ऑफिसर 115 बीपीएफएल किया है
Correct.
और उसमें क्या हुआ कि सर मेरे जो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में बैंक में जो डिपॉजिट किया था सब एंट्रीज सात बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में एडिशन दिखाया था
Uh-huh.
पर असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने ऐसा किया कि उन्होंने जो मेरी एग्रीकल्चर इनकम थी उसमें उसने 40% एक्सपेंस एडिशन करके जो डिफरेंस है वो सब 115 बीबी में एडिशन करके ये वो पास कर दिया है। तो मैं तो अभी अपील में गया हूँ, लेकिन वो गलत किया है मैंने एसी से। उसमें क्या होगा सर, ये अभी जनवरी 2000 में जो जजमेंट आया वो जजमेंट उसमें होगा
नहीं? आप, इफ आई अंडरस्टूड करेक्टली, आप कह रहे हैं कि एग्रीकल्चर इनकम थी आपकी, वो
जी
आपने
सर।
बैंक में जमा करी, तो असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने
हाँ
उसमें
जी।
फर्दर एडिशन करके, मान लो आपने जो है 20 लाख जमा किया, तो उसने 44% और फर्दर एडिशन करके
हाँ
आपका 35 लाख या 36 लाख या 40 लाख जो भी हुआ, उस अमाउंट को ऐड किया।
हाँ
यही कह रहे हैं ना आप?
हाँ
हाँ, तो वो
हाँ।
इसलिए कि उसने इसलिए किया कि आपका जो 115
हेलो, आवाज आ
बीबीई
रही
है, ठीक है ना?
हाँ
तो उसने इसलिए किया कि जो सेक्शन 115 बीबीई है, वो कहता है कि आपको कोई एक्सपेंडिचर की डिडक्शन नहीं
हाँ।
मिलेगी। तो आपने पीछे जैसे जो भी इनकम आपकी एग्रीकल्चर इनकम हो रही थी, तो एग्रीकल्चर इनकम की रिसीट, मान लो अगर
हाँ।
स्टेट में 44% की बजाय मैं 50% ले लूं, कि आपकी रिसीट अगर 40 लाख की है और आपने 20 लाख का खर्चा होता है और 20 लाख आपका इनकम आता है, अब आपने 20 लाख इनकम दिखाया, सेक्शन 115 बीबीई कहता है कि आपको डिडक्शन नहीं मिलेगा एक्सपेंडिचर का।
हाँ
तो उसने ये कहा कि आपका डिपॉजिट 20 लाख का नहीं है, आपका 40 लाख का है, क्योंकि आपको खर्चा नहीं मिलना है,
खर्चा नहीं मिलना ऐसा बोल रहे हैं।
इसलिए 40 लाख होना चाहिए था आपका।
हाँ
तो अब आपने अपील में एक तो सबसे पहले यही लेना है कि अपील में पहले हम सेक्शन 68 या 69 पर आएंगे।
हाँ
सेक्शन 69 क्या कहता है? 69 ए कहता है कि आई फाउंड टू बी द ओनर।
हाँ
अब पहली बात तो मैंने जो मैं तो अपने आप जमा कराया है बैंक में, तो जो
हाँ।
मैंने आर्गुमेंट दिए हैं 69 ए के,
हाँ।
वो नहीं लगते। दूसरी बात, अगर है भी तो मैं ओनर कितने मनी का मिला? 20 लाख का मिला, 40 का थोड़ी मिला।
हाँ सर, मेरे पास, सर मैं बीच में रोकते, मेरे पास जो जितना भी सेल किया है उसका पूरा बिल्स भी है, और जितने एक्सपेंस किया है इसके एक्सपेंस है पूरा बिल्स है, वो उसमें किसी एक भी बिल्स कम नहीं है साहब, ये फिर भी उसने एडिशन कर दिया है।
नहीं, देखिए, दो चीजें अलग अलग हो गई। एक तो फैक्ट्स की बात कर रहे हैं, एक लॉ की बात कर रहे हैं।
हाँ
हम अगर पहले लॉ की बात करें अगर, तो लॉ में मैं कहूंगा सेक्शन 69 ए लगता ही नहीं है मेरे को, ये कहूंगा मैं।
हाँ
और अगर सेक्शन 69 ए लगता भी है तो उसने एडिशन 40 लाख का गलत किया। उसको 20 लाख का, मैंने तो 20 लाख ही तो जमा किया है मैंने बैंक में,
हाँ।
वो एडिशन होना था। दैट इज एज फार द लीगल पोजीशन इज कंसर्न्ड। व्हेन कमिंग टू द फैक्ट्स इज कंसर्न्ड, मैं कहूंगा मैं तो आई हैव फुल एक्सप्लेनेशन। मेरे पास तो जितने भी है आई हैव एक्सप्लेनेशन। मैंने ये सेल प्रोसीड मेरी है 40 लाख की आई, 35 लाख की आई, जो भी सेल प्रोसीड आई, मेरी ये एग्रीकल्चर लैंड थी, ये इसके एविडेंसेस हैं, ये मैंने फसल इसमें बोई थी, ये इसको बेची है, वो सारे एविडेंसेस हैं। और मेरे 20 लाख की इनकम थी, वो मेरे पास कैश भी थे, मैंने जमा करा दिया। तो देयरफॉर सेक्शन 69 ए का क्वेश्चन ही नहीं आता है। तो आपको फैक्ट्स पे पहले आर्ग्यू करना चाहिए और फिर लीगल की बात करनी चाहिए कि फैक्ट्स में सेक्शन 69 ए इज नॉट एट ऑल एप्लीकेबल बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज ऑन रिकॉर्ड. I can give the explanation. I have given the explanation to the assessing officer. So, and secondly, then section 69 लगता ही नहीं है circumstances में, right?
राइट सर, लेकिन उसमें सर क्या ऑफिसर्स ऐसे कहते थे कि मैं 40% एक्सपेंस आपको दूंगा, उससे कम तो नहीं दूंगा, ऐसे करके उसने एडिशन बहुत समझाया, लेकिन वो समझने तैयार ही नहीं थे, तो एडिशन कर दिया सर। ठीक है, आप अपील में गए, लेकिन
अगर वो सब समझ जाते तो हम और आप ये डिस्कशन नहीं कर रहे होते ना।
जी सर, यस सर, थैंक यू सर,
थैंक यू, वेलकम।
Thank you, sir. Next is
Yes.
Mr. Amit Gupta from Jammu. Mr. Gupta,
Okay.
are you there?
Yes, yes,
Yes, sir.
Please, Mr.
yes, yes, Amit.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Amit, बताएं।
Good evening, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
good
my
evening.
question is that one of my client is duly registered under VAT Act,
Okay,
but his income, but he has not filed the ITR
okay,
for the relevant year.
right,
Now the income tax ITO has issued a notice and sent the link for filing the ITR as per
okay,
uh,
okay,
prevalent. So we have filed the ITR under section 44 AD and taken 8% as taxable income and deposited the tax on that and duly filed the ITR. Because
For which
dealer is
year?
duly
For
registered
which
under
year are
VAT.
we talking about?
Sir,
For
same,
which assessment
same
year we are talking
relevant
about?
year. सर
नहीं
16,
relevant
17
year means 17 18.
सर 17, 18
तो
the
17
notice
18
was
का आप रिटर्न
issued
कैसे करें?
not the when the notice is issued for not filing
हाँ,
and depositing
हाँ,
cash during the period 8th November to 31st December, we have received
हाँ,
that notice. So
तो नोटिस तो उसने
against
पहले
that
इशू करा होगा
notice,
ना, ये नोटिस तो
ना
उसने
सर
पहले इशू कर दिया होगा ना, ये
नहीं सर
नोटिस तो
नोटिस इशू हुआ
कब हुआ नोटिस इशू?
सर last year
नहीं लास्ट ईयर.
the case was selected for scrutiny ना, notice was issued.
ओके ओके ठीक है, ऑलराइट.
In reply to the
But-
notice, online link was sent to us
तो उसका तो
because the
असेसमेंट
dealer
भी
had
होगा,
not filed the ITR.
तो उसका तो असेसमेंट भी उसको कर
Dealer
दिया
had-
होगा उसने.
सर
उसका
पहले नहीं
से-
किया ना, पहले उन्होंने नोटिस सेंड किया
नहीं,
और
ठीक
उसके
है,
साथ
आपने
लिंक भेजा.
राइट, आपने रिटर्न फाइल नहीं की, उसने लिंक भेजा, आपने रिटर्न फाइल कर दी. 17 18 का था तो उसका तो टाइम लिमिट फॉर मेकिंग असेसमेंट हैज ऑलरेडी एक्सपायर्ड. ही वुड हैव ऑलरेडी मेड द असेसमेंट इन दिसंबर
sir,
2019.
Yeah, sir, the link has been sent
Yes,
in
yes.
October, na? So we had filed the return ITR along with all the questionnaire and filed the reply to the questionnaire. But the
Okay.
ITO has assessed the case without taking into consideration our ITR filed.
ठीक है,
They do
ऑलराइट.
the routine assessment as discussed under section 68, 69, 115 BE. Now we have filed the appeal against that order. So he has not taken into
You have to contest
consideration.
in appeal since.
Yeah. So we are
देखिए
contesting,
ऐसा
but,
है ना, वो तो जैसे मैंने कहा, देखिए वो तो जैसे मैंने अभी मेंशन किया आपको, मैंने तो आपके कहने से पहले ही कह रहा था कि उसने असेसमेंट करा होगा आपका, क्योंकि 17 18 की असेसमेंट की टाइम लिमिट ऑलरेडी खत्म हो गई है. तो जो आपने बाद में बताया कि आपको उसने लिंक भेजा, आपने शायद रिटर्न टाइम लेने भेजी होगी, बाद में भेजी होगी, जो भी कुछ हुआ होगा.
जी
अब तो
सर.
असेसमेंट हो गया, आपने
जी
अपील
सर.
फाइल कर दी है, तो अब उसमें जो भी आपको
हाँ
अपील
जी.
लेनी है वो असेसमेंट अपील में ही ले सकते हैं आप. वो तो अब उसका तो ओवर हो गया ना,
नहीं,
अब नथिंग कैन बी
मेरा
डन.
सर-
बोले आपका
मेरा
क्वेश्चन
पूछने
क्या
का
है?
सर यही था
हम्म,
कि जो वो लिंक जब बेचते हैं, अगर वो
हाँ.
हम ITR उसके अगेंस्ट फाइल करते हैं,
हाँ,
वो
हाँ.
ITR वैलिड नहीं मानी जाएगी.
नहीं
वो
आईटीआर
ITR वैलिड होगी हमारी.
देखिए, आप 17 18 की रिटर्न जो थी आप भेज सकते थे पहले ही, जो है मतलब आपने फाइल कर दी.
31 मार्च 19.
राइट, अब उसने नहीं लिया आपकी कंसिडरेशन में, तो खत्म
हाँ
हो
जी.
गया जो भी हो गया. अब तो असेसमेंट हो गया ना, अब तो आपको
हाँ
यही
जी सर.
जो भी प्ली लेनी है वो अपीलों में लेनी है. राइट,
बल्कि जो हम ITR भरते नहीं, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि हम जब ITR भरते हैं, लिंक सेंड करते हैं, वो
हाँ
हम
हाँ,
ऐसे तो ITR तब स्टॉप्ड है ना, मोर देन 1 ईयर हम ITR फाइल नहीं कर सकते, इनकम टैक्स ने ब्लॉक कर दिया हुआ है.
ठीक है,
बट जब वो हमारा लिंक बेचते हैं तो लिंक में
हाँ.
हम ITR फाइल करते हैं,
करेक्ट.
तो उसको वो एक्सेप्ट, वो वैलिड ITR होती है हमारी कि नहीं होती है?
नहीं, आईटीआर आपकी वैलिड होगी अगर वो लिंक में भेजा है उसने. जैसे नोटिस 142(1) का नोटिस अगर मान लो कोई इशू करता है और आप विद इन दैट टाइम आप
जी सर.
फाइल कर देते हो, तो आपकी रिटर्न तो हो गई. पर अगर वो मान लो उसके बाद भी वो
जी सर.
विदाउट टेकिंग कॉग्निजेंस ऑफ द रिटर्न अगर असेसमेंट कर देता है, तो आप अपील में गए हैं, तो आपने
जी सर.
जो भी रिटर्न में दिखाया उसको आपको
हाँ जी सर.
अपील में आर्ग्यू करना है आपको. राइट,
हाँ, वो ना कि वो हमारे वैलिड पॉइंट है ना कि वैट रजिस्टर्ड था, सेल इज वर रजिस्टर्ड सेल, वी हैव ऑलरेडी फाइल्ड द वैट रिटर्न्स.
Yes, Amit ji,
ये-
sir,
ये
what-
सब आपको
अनअकाउंटेड फॉर.
ये सब आपको मेरिट्स पे एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा
हाँ,
कमिश्नर के
सर.
सामने. राइट,
सर
चलो.
VP गुप्ता सर वही
तो सर
बता.
एक मेरा पॉइंट और था कि
बोलो.
जब आप मुझे पहले आपने अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन में कहा कि कैश रिसीव्ड, जो कैश रिसीव्ड हमारा नवंबर एंड दिसंबर में,
हाँ हाँ,
तो वो अगर हम जस्टिफाई कर पाते हैं अगेंस्ट सेल्स और अगेंस्ट डेट्स,
करेक्ट.
वो वैलिड है. बट
यस,
एक तरफ हमारे पास इसकी लिमिट है 10,000 पर पर्सन पर डे रिसीव फ्रॉम डेटर्स इन इनकम टैक्स.
ये लिमिट कहाँ? अच्छा, वो जो है, नहीं नहीं, ये लिमिट डेटर्स के कहाँ से आ गई?
सर ये इनकम
वो
टैक्स
तो
में है ना
लोन
कि
से.
कैश, वी कैन नॉट रिसीव कैश मोर देन 10,000 पर डे फ्रॉम डेटर.
पेमेंट के लिए है, एक्सपेंडिचर के लिए है 48(3) में, रिसीट के लिए थोड़ी है.
सीट में नहीं है सर.
रिसीट पे कोई लिमिट
तो
नहीं
सर
है. वो
अगर
तो
हम उस दौरान हमारे पास जो कैश रिसीट हुआ, बल्क
हाँ,
में
हाँ.
हुआ, वो तो
हाँ।
आपको भी पता सबको कि सभी ने
हाँ,
जितने
हाँ,
डेटर से उन्होंने अपना क्लियर किया।
राइट।
तो अगर एक केस में मेरे से आईटीओ ने ये पूछा कि आप डेटर का नेम एंड एड्रेस दे दीजिए,
हाँ,
वो फिर डेटर को प्रोसिक्यूट कर सकते हैं फॉर मेकिंग पेमेंट्स मोर देन 10,000 पर डे।
देखो यार, तुम्हें अपना केस प्रूव करना है ना, तो ये तो बताना ही पड़ेगा ये आदमी मेरा डेटर था, इससे मैंने पैसा लिया है।
हाँ जी सर।
वो तो बात की अलग बात है,
तो
वही
बिजनेस
वो अलग
मेरा
इशू हो
क्लाइंट
गया।
है।
और और ये जो एक्सपेंडिचर के लिए था उस टाइम जो है वो तो सेल तो उसकी ऑलरेडी हो गई, और उसने फर्दर आपको डेटर आप ड्यू हैं उसके लिए पेमेंट किया है आपने,
हाँ जी
तो वो अलग एंगल से कंसीडर
जी सर।
करना पड़ेगा उसका इशू जो है।
Thank you, sir. Thank you
बेसिकली
very much.
क्लाइंट का ये कहना है कि अगर हम डेटर्स को डिस्क्लोज कर देते हैं तो फिर भी बिजनेस में लॉस होगा।
अब
एक
ये
तरफ
तो
इनकम
आप ये
टैक्स
तो
है, दूसरी
भाई
तरफ
ये तो आपको
बिजनेस।
डिसीजन लेना है या एसएससी को लेना है कि वो कैसे एसेसिंग ऑफिसर कैसे मान लेगा आपके में डेटर से आया है, पर मैं ये नहीं बताऊंगा किस डेटर से आया है। आपकी बुक्स में डेटर्स आउटस्टैंडिंग होंगे ना, लिस्ट होगी वहां पर, उनसे आपको कहना है कि कैश आया आपके पास, तो आप कैसे नहीं बताएंगे? आप नहीं
हमने वो
बताएंगे तो
प्ली दिया कि कैश आया, पर उन्होंने उसको कहा कि बाइफरकेट करके पर डे हिसाब से हमें बताएं कैश पर डे।
that is a matter of fact, you have to take a call on that. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
yes, yes.
Our next member is Mr. Sunil Keshwani. Mr.
Okay.
Sunil, are you there?
Yes, I am there. Good evening,
yes,
sir.
yes. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, Mr. Sunil.
Sir, Section 68 says that whatever amount is credited in the books of accounts, if the assessee is unable to give a proper justification with regard to that credit, then the assessing officer is would be charging or considering the same as income.
Correct.
Now, if the books of accounts altogether are rejected and assessment is done under Section 144 as best judgment assessment,
correct,
then in that case, so far as the appeal is concerned, should the plea should be with regard to the rejection of books of accounts under Section 144, or it should be with regard to Section 68 additions?
देखिए, it has to be both ways.
Okay.
First plea has to be that accounts have been wrongly rejected.
Okay.
Because all the entries were duly reflected in my books of account. It has been the sale or recovery from debtors, whatsoever it is. And therefore, I am maintaining regular books of account, audited by, अगर audited accounts से तो audit हुआ है, and therefore books of accounts could not be rejected without finding any fault. So for rejecting books of account, he had to give a specific recording that so and so defect was there in the books of account. Therefore, I am rejecting this.
Sir, if I may interrupt, sir. Sir, actually, in this particular case, the cash deposited was around 30 lakhs, but somehow the information which came from the bank was around 1.5 CR. Okay. We gave an affidavit that this particular amount is not credited by us. We also gave our affidavit, but somehow the information which came from bank was carrying our PAN number. So purely depending on the statement given by the bank, not my particular bank account, but the information given by the banker, the books of accounts were rejected.
You see, ये तो आपको फिर फैक्चुअली प्रूव करना पड़ेगा ना कि ये तो डिफरेंस आ गया कि आप कह रहे हैं कि मेरा तो 30 लाख है और बैंक ने इन्फॉर्मेशन दिया कि नहीं 1.5 करोड़ है, तो वो तो आपको आर्ग्यू उस बेसिस पे करना है कि भाई ये गलत किसी ने पैन नंबर लिख दिया है या बैंक ने रिपोर्टिंग गलत करी है या जो भी है, मेरे तो यही बैंक अकाउंट है और यही है, एंड आई एम श्योर दैट दिस पोजीशन विल बी एक्सेप्टेड बाय इन अपील्स. देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन. अगर 30 लाख है तो 30 लाख ही है, 1.5 करोड़ में कहीं ना कहीं तो प्रॉब्लम होगी ना किसी बैंक की रिपोर्टिंग में.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सर.
राइट.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, next question is from KK Unnamalai. Mr.
Yeah.
KK, are you there?
Yeah, yes, sir. Good evening.
Please
sir.
continue. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Yes, please.
Sir, my first question, sir.
Yes.
Regarding this, they had made, the client is a tax audit case.
Yes.
We had filed the tax audit reports and we had submitted the books of accounts at the time of, we have submitted the cash book during the period of scrutiny also, sir.
Okay.
And subsequently, we were unable to give the supportive documents for the rest of 19 lakhs. Though it was entered in the cash books, AO requested for the supportive documents. We couldn't submit the supportive documents during the period of scrutiny.
What has been your plea as far as this 19 lakhs is concerned?
I offered this 19 lakhs as a sales and I offered 8% income. We orally discussed it over the phone on a previous day. So I offered 8% income of the 19 lakhs. But AO, after receiving my statement, he made an addition under section 115B.
No, so if you are offering the only 8%, and you are coming in the presumptive assessments, then where was the question of maintaining books or submitting the tax audit reports?
No, excuse me, sir. Actually, the turnover is around 2 crores. Only for this 19 lakhs, I offered 8%, sir.
नहीं, how can you do this? कि मतलब वो तो अब आपको अगर बुक्स में ऑलरेडी क्रेडिट किया हुआ है आपने.
Sir, this person is able to understand English only.
Yeah, from Tamil Nadu, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. You see, when you have already credited the sale in the P&L account,
Yes, sir.
and already determined the profit as per your profit and loss account,
Yes, sir.
where was the question of making further addition of 8% on the profit?
No, due to lack of time, just we entered into 8%. If it is 8% only, the tax amount will be lesser. So we, due to the lack of time, we are also having so many cases. So
No, but in the commissioner appeal, even if you have somehow mentioned that, before commissioner appeal, you should take the plea that this has been wrongly offered. This profit arising from the sale is already accounted for, and you have to show the corresponding sales stock also adjustment.
Okay.
You must be, when your tax audit is there, you must be having the stock register, stock record, and everything must be there.
Yeah.
So on that basis, on the basis of facts, you have to prove that the sale was there. And as for the why you are not having the record for that, you have to give some sort of a plea for that also.
Okay, fine. And my second question, sir.
Yes.
Regarding another client, there was delay in filing. They issued notice under 142(1). We filed the returns under 142(1), sir. Subsequently, they raised a notice under 144. And I replied that we had filed the returns earlier. For the 144, we didn't give any explanatory report. We just gave a reply that we had filed the returns earlier. And now we had made the entire cash deposits and bank transfers throughout the year of 2 crores as additions.
Again, this is a question of fact. You have to prove that when return was filed, why he has not considered, whether addition should be made under section 144 or not. So all these pleas have to be taken. You can claim that 144 assessment has been wrongly made in your case.
Yes,
Return
sir.
was already filed, return was there, books of accounts were there.
Okay.
So when they, along with the return, you must have submitted the audited accounts. So in that case, you have to claim that because 144 specific has certain conditions, that for making the assessment, he is supposed to give you the notice. He has to determine the income on a reasonable basis. So all these conditions of 144 have all to be complied with. If he has not complied with all the conditions, you can take all the pleas for 144 as well.
Regarding 144, you have not given the proposal for 144 with only 1 week time to reply, sir. And even at the time, I met the AO and explained that I will give the reply within 2 or 3 days. In spite, they made the addition on 24th of December. On the next 25th of
you see, this particular aspect which you have mentioned, that you went to the assessing officer and he said this and that. So this has been the general problem in most of the assessments which have been made in December. As I mentioned, assessing officers in many cases issued the notice which was beginning the time of 3 o'clock in the night.
Yeah.
And they have been giving the next date 4 o'clock, like that, which may be the Saturday or Sunday. And you notice that notice came to your notice only on Monday when the time limit is already expired. Assessing officer says, I have already made the assessment. So in all these pleas, you must also take in a ground, if you are not taken, that he had not complied with the principles of natural justice. Sufficient time was not given to you to give the reply. But making a submission I went to personally, that was not the right basis, in fact, because all the assessments were being done through ITBA.
Okay.
So you are supposed to reply in ITBA. Even if the adjournment request was to be made, it had to be made on ITBA. But in any case, if you say you had gone personally, you have to give the affidavit for that. Yeah, this was the first year when the ITBA was being used and all that. So you went to him personally, you requested him and he agreed. So that sort of affidavit needs to be given during the course of appeal procedure.
And another thing, sir, during your discussion, you told that the ITO has to, the assessing has to take an permission from the higher authorities.
Yes. So you go through this notification which I mentioned, notification 3 of 2017.
Sir, pardon, sir, CA?
Circular number 3 of 2017 is there. Which is
मैं आपसे बात करूंगा बेटा, इससे बात करके ना मैं आपसे बात.
Okay.
Sir, another my last question, sir.
Yes.
Regarding this is regarding the assessment.
More 5 persons are there. Please,
last question.
This would be your last question, please, sir.
Please, sir.
Yes.
It was regarding the assessment at 1213, sir. they had reopened on this 31st of they reopened on this December 31st of March 2019, sir.
Okay.
They had sent a intimation, and
Mhm.
they are stating that in the further order they are stating that we had sent the intimation by through post, and the post had been returned with dash remarks. There is no remarks in the postal return, sir. My doubt is that whether they would have sent they might not have sent this post.
You
How
see,
to justify this one, sir?
no, this plea is regarding service of the notice, what you are talking
Service
about.
of the notices, sir.
So this was assessment year 2013, 14.
12, 13, sir.
And 13, 14 or 14, 15, you was whatsoever it. And you say the notice was sent in March 2019.
Yes, sir.
So at that time, probably the ITBA was not fully functional. So if this notice was not sent through ITBA, then you can take the inspection of the record and see from the record what has been the position, whether notice was sent, how it was sent, when it was delivered, not delivered, what has been the remarks, when the postal authorities had returned. And on that basis, then after inspection of the record, you must give an application in the RTI, and then ask the assessing officer the record after you have inspected the record personally.
Okay.
Right?
Right, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Next,
you very
please.
much, sir. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Yes,
Mr.
please.
J. Mehta. Are you there, Mr. J. Mehta?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
here.
Continue.
Yes, Mr. Mehta. Yes, please.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yes.
One of my problem is that there are so many people who are keeping coins collections and note collection.
Okay.
They are having more than 10 or 15 notes. They are having, in Surat. They have kept 3 days seminar over here in Surat, and I have seen a lot of people having demonetization note 500, 10,000 rupees in bundles. And they never kept in balance it also. I don't think so they will put it in the records for that they are doing the business or something. I don't know how you can consider this people return on that basis, or how can you put it in the record if any survey will take place.
Why are you bothered about all those persons who are not complying with the law?
I wanted to know, because there are so many people who can keep collecting the notes which is demolished, and there are the government also taking some notes, 350 rupees note, they will charge 3,000 rupees.
You see, as far as they separate, I understand there is a separate act for collection of the coins, etc., which governs all these things. But as far as this particular demonetization act, we have already discussed that this gives a restriction that you cannot keep more than 10 notes. So that is the restriction. So beyond that, I do not understand that particular law, which is specifically allow you the accumulation or the collection of the coins, etc.
Can I have your mail ID so I can get you all the details pertaining to some of the persons? They are my clients also. They are filing the returns, but they never keep such in the balance sheet saying that they are having such notes.
But sir, why you want to
again I'll say the same thing, that if they are not bothered, why you should be bothered?
Okay.
If they are doing something wrong, for collection purpose, one cannot keep the bundle of the 500 notes or 1,000 rupees notes. He is violating the law.
Yeah.
So then why are you bothered?
Yeah.
You want him to record everything in the books and then be exposed.
Thank you, Mehta,
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Please.
Next is Mr. Rakesh.
गुड इवनिंग गुप्ता जी.
गुड इवनिंग. यस.
हाँ गुप्ता जी, ऐसा है जैसे मिस्टर रुपिंदर कंसल की क्वेरी थी रिगार्डिंग 115B amount was stock was surrendered.
Okay.
And there is a specific statement, the amount was surrendered out of my business receipt.
Okay.
And I have declared that amount in my profit and loss account.
Correct.
Whether then provisions of 115B is applicable when I have declared it as my business receipt.
You see, even if you have declared as a business receipt,
yes,
Section 69A doesn't exempt you. Section 69A only says that you are found to be the owner and
yes,
it is not recorded in your books of account. then we have to find out some way to be out of section 69A. Section
Okay.
69A clearly provides that you were found to be the owner, which you have accepted, and that it is not recorded in the books of account. So
At the
that is-
time of
that
at the
is the
time of
difficulty.
surrender. Yes.
At the
yes,
time of
yes.
surrender,
Haan.
the plea which I have been trying to convey, section
Mhm.
69A, is that
Yes.
that I have myself deposited the cash in my bank account, and therefore it can be said that you have found me the owner. But in this case, the department has found you to be the owner of the stock, which you have not
Ah, yes.
recorded in your books.
Yes, at the time of survey, it was not recorded in the books of account.
Right. So that is the
Yes.
difficulty in your case. So there is a problem.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Yes.
Another query is,
Please.
another query is, amount of rupees, suppose 20 lakhs is deposited in the bank,
Right.
and I have produced the registration sale deed of rupees 10 lakh.
Okay.
When I have explained the source that amount of 20 lakhs was out of my sales registration, because all we know that registrations are done at a lower price, whether that 10 lakhs compulsory is to be added under section 15BBE.
देखिए इसमें तो आपकी और प्रॉब्लम बढ़ गई.
Yes, sir.
आपके 20 आप कह रहे हैं सेल प्रोसीड मेरी सेल ऑफ लैंड की है या जो भी
हाँ जी, हाँ 20 लाख रुपया मैंने
प्रॉपर्टी की है, आपने रजिस्ट्री 10 लाख की करी, पर
Yes,
आपने
sir.
बेची जो है उसमें जो 20 लाख की.
जी
तो
फाइन.
इसमें तो आपकी मैनीफोल्ड प्रॉब्लम बढ़ गई आपकी. एक तो
Okay.
सबसे पहले वायलेशन आपका सेक्शन 50C का वायलेशन हो गया.
हाँ फाइन सर.
हैं जो भी
ठीक
खैर
है
वो तो शायद 10 लाख का ही होगा, पर
हाँ जी,
आपने जो
हाँ.
है वो एडिशन आपका जो है जो भी आपका सेल कंसिडरेशन का आपका एडिशन होगा ही होगा. फिर सेक्शन 269 एसएस में आपकी वायलेशन हो गया. You have received more than 20,000 rupees in regard to sale of the property in
Yes.
cash.
Yes.
So there the penalty is equivalent to the amount of sale.
100%.
100%. So even if the assessing officer accept कि भाई ठीक है आपकी 10 लाख के आपने सेल तो वहां पे करी, तो 10 लाख तो वो एडिशन तो होगा ही होगा आपका, हैं?
फाइन.
एडिशन तो आपका हो गया 69A में करे, 69 में करे, किसी में करे, और 269 एसएस का वायलेशन और हो गया. तो this is the wrong plea. This is the wrong plea you have taken there in fact.
Okay. ठीक है. What should be the appropriate this plea at this moment?
You should give some other explanation. 10 lakh is not a very large amount. You should say something else कि भाई घर में accumulate करा हुआ था.
ठीक है.
वाइफ के पास जमा था, वो देती नहीं थी, पता ही नहीं हमें कहाँ से आया.
Actually, amount is more higher. For example, say we have taken 20 lakhs.
देखिए 30 लाख भी शायद कहीं ना कहीं सॉल्व कर लोगे आप, पर अगर if it is 3 crores then it may be difficult.
Yes. ठीक है. Rightly said, sir. Thank you. Obliged, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next is Mr. Deepak Kumar Goyal. Mr. Deepak Kumar, are you there?
Yes.
Please continue.
Yes, Mr. Deepak.
गुड इवनिंग सर.
गुड इवनिंग. यस
सर, प्रॉब्लम ये है कि डिमोनेटाइजेशन पीरियड के अंदर इन्होंने प्रेस रिलीज जारी की थी कि सेविंग अकाउंट में 2.5 लाख रुपए तक और करंट अकाउंट में 12.5 लाख रुपए तक जो कैश डिपॉजिट करेगा उससे कोई फर्दर पूछताछ नहीं की जाएगी.
ओके.
उसके तहत मेरा एक एसएससी का एक्सपायरिटी केस हुआ. उसने अपने सर आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
हाँ बिल्कुल आ रही है.
तो उसमें 10,04,000 रुपए उसने जमा किए थे डिमोनेटाइजेशन पीरियड में और 73,000 रुपए जमा थे उसके पहले से. टोटल फाइनेंशियल ईयर में 10,77,000 रुपए उसके जमा हुए.
करंट अकाउंट की बात कर रहे हो, सेविंग अकाउंट की बात कर रहे हो?
ये था उसका कैश क्रेडिट अकाउंट था, बैंक से जो लोन लिमिट का अकाउंट था.
मतलब ही इज कैरिंग ऑन द बिजनेस एंड करंट अकाउंट था मतलब.
जी.
ओके.
तो उसमें जो उसने पैसा जमा किया उसने कोई रिटर्न फाइल नहीं की थी, ना पहले की ना बाद में की.
ओके.
एक्सपायरिटी ऑर्डर में इन्होंने उठा के जो उसको 115BBE में ऐड करके और अपना टैक्स पेल दिया. तो अपील में जो मेरे को संभावना है कि उस प्रेस रिलीज के अकेली के आधार पे मुझे पूरी संभावना है नहीं है?
नहीं, देखिए 2.5 लाख तो जो सेविंग अकाउंट में वो तो इंडिविजुअल, वो तो मेरे ख्याल से हार्डली एनीबॉडी हैज रिसीव्ड क्वेरी फॉर दैट.
ठीक.
पर ये जो जब आप करंट अकाउंट की बात करते हो तो इसका मतलब तो बिजनेस कर रहे हो आप.
हाँ बिजनेस कर रहे हैं. जब मेरा लोन अकाउंट है
तो बिजनेस, आप बिजनेस कर रहे हो तो आपने जब जमा कराए अपने बैंक में तो या तो वो कहीं ना कहीं आपकी बुक्स में से आ रहा है.
हाँ बिल्कुल ठीक.
और या बुक्स में से नहीं आ रहे, आउटसाइड द बुक्स आ रहा है. तो फिर डिफरेंट बात हो गई।
नहीं, बुक्स में से भी उसको प्रूव किया जा सकता है।
तो वो
किंतु
जितना भी
प्रॉब्लम
हमने
ये है,
जितना हमने डिस्कस आज हमने जितना डिस्कशन किया है उस लाइट में ही आपको ये प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि अगर बिजनेस से है तो आपका कौन सा क्या सोर्स है आपका, और बुक्स में एंटर्ड है आपका तो किस तरह से आपने एंटर किया है, किस वजह से किया है। अगर आप कोई उसमें आपने मान लो अगर ये एंटर बाद में कर रहे हो आप, या नहीं एंटर किया और आप डिस्क्लोज कर रहे हो, आपने कहा कि रिटर्न भी फाइल नहीं करी है, तो रिटर्न फाइल नहीं करी तो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स आपकी रखी थी एक तरह से, बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स आपने बनी तो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स के बेस पर आपकी इनकम टैक्सेबल नहीं थी, रिटर्न इसलिए फाइल नहीं करी। यू हैव टू गिव ए रीजनेबल एक्सप्लेनेशन व्हाई बुक्स रिटर्न वाज नॉट फाइल्ड।
जी,
इफ रिटर्न वाज नॉट फाइल्ड फॉर दिस से आपकी इनकम ही टैक्सेबल लिमिट से कम थी
जी,
फॉर एग्जांपल,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
एंड यू आर एबल टू प्रूव कि ये सब ये 10 लाख रुपए मेरे पास तो सेल, मेरी तो कैश सेल होती है, उसमें से आया था मैंने जमा कर दिया, पर मेरी टोटल साल भर की रिसीट इतनी थी और इतना मेरी जो एक्सपेंडिचर है इतना इनकम हुई है, तो देन यू विल गेट एक्सक्यूज फ्रॉम दैट। So that was the idea where when the government has said so. But if you are not able to explain anything, then definitely addiction तो होगा।
और सर जो प्रेस रिलीज इन्होंने करंट अकाउंट के बारे में कहा कि 12.5 लाख रुपए तक आपको फर्दर कोई पूछताछ नहीं की जाएगी, अमाउंट मेरा
उसका रिलेशन यही था कि आप रिटर्न फाइल कर रहे हो।
अच्छा, रिटर्न फाइल कर रहे हो देन?
यस, अगर आप नॉर्मली रिटर्न फाइल कर रहे हो, बिजनेस कैरी ऑन कर रहे हो, तो 12.5 लाख was not a huge amount।
जी जी,
जी बिजनेस में रेगुलर हो सकता है
जी,
पर अगर आप बिजनेस मान लो बड़ा नेग्लिजिबल बिजनेस कर रहे हो फॉर एग्जांपल, है बिजनेस आपका है ही नहीं, फिर आपने 10 लाख रुपए जमा कर दिया और आप रिटर्न भी नहीं फाइल कर रहे हो
जी,
तो फैक्ट्स पे प्रूव करना पड़ेगा ना आपको, राइट?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, please.
And sir, I think you are dealing with same issue since from 4 o'clock. So one last question is there. One last question is there.
No problem. Any question? Because now there is no depending upon what is your limitation of the time. I have no problem.
Not an issue, sir.
Yes, please.
Mr. Shailesh bhai is once again. Mr. Shailesh, are you there?
हाँ जी सर।
Yes.
हाँ जी सर, मेरे अभी लास्ट में असेसमेंट हुआ था तो उसमें मेरे क्लाइंट ने सम प्लॉट्स सेल किया था।
ओके।
तो उसमें डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंसेस प्लॉट में डाला था, तो एसेसिंग ऑफिसर्स ने वो डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंस में प्रोपोर्शनल नेट से एडिशन किया था। लेकिन इश्यू है कि जो सेल किया था प्लॉट उसमें सम प्लॉट बाय चेक्स पेमेंट रिसीव हुआ था, लेकिन करीबन 60-70 लाख का बाय कैश पेमेंट आया हुआ है। तो उसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, कारण कि एसेसिंग ने तो कुछ एसेस में ऑर्डर में कुछ ऐसा नहीं लिखा, लेकिन हमने अभी अपील में गए हुए। तो वो जो केस, वो राकेश भाई का जो प्रश्न है, इसलिए मुझे
राइट
सर, इसलिए वो मुझे ध्यान में आया।
वो आपने जो कैश जमा किया, जो आपने डिक्लेयर किया, वो असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने किस हेड में टैक्स किया है, किस तरह से टैक्स किया है?
नहीं, उसने तो जो एक्सपेंस किया था डेवलपमेंट का, उसका एडिशन किया है, लेकिन जो प्लॉट सेल्स किया था वो तो लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन में सब अप्रूवल कर दिया। उसमें लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन में जो एडिशन किया उतना ही एडिशन हुआ है।
तो ये स्कीम में क्यों नहीं चले जाते आप?
इसलिए उसमें क्या है कि अपील में गया हुआ, तो जो ऐसे कोई इश्यू नहीं लिया है 269 ऐसे, लेकिन अपील अथॉरिटी इश्यू ले सकता है।
नहीं, मैंने अभी तो क्वेश्चन खत्म हो जाएगा ना आपका। आपने जो ग्राउंड डेवलपमेंट एक्सपेंसेस के लिए लिया है,
हाँ, उस
ग्राउंड पर आप विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम में चले जाइएगा आप।
हाँ,
मैटर विल बी ओवर।
तो वो नहीं, लेकिन मैं चलो विवाद स्कीम में ना जाऊं, और जो मेरे अपील चल रही है, तो अपील अथॉरिटी जो एसेसिंग ऑफिसर ने 269 एसएस का जो इश्यू,
बेटर यही है, आप रिस्क मत लीजिएगा।
ऐसा है,
आप विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम में जाके खत्म कीजिएगा।
नहीं तो एसेसिंग ऑफिसर ने जो नहीं लिया तो अपील अथॉरिटी ले सकते हैं उसमें।
भाई कमिश्नर की पावर बड़ी वाइड पावर है, और उसकी नॉलेज में सब आ गया तो he has power to issue the penalty notice to you under any provisions of the law.
ऐसा है सर।
हाँ,
तो
कमिश्नर अपील कैन also issue notice for penalty.
हाँ, तो ये इश्यू के रिलेटेड में जा सकता हूँ कि पूरा असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के
नहीं, पूरा अपील, वो तो पूरी अपील के लिए जाना पड़ेगा आपको।
पूरा एक इश्यू के लिए
एक इश्यू पे नहीं जा सकते,
नहीं जा सकते।
नहीं, एक इश्यू पे नहीं जा सकते, पूरी अपील के लिए जाना पड़ेगा।
पूरी अपील के लिए जाना।
हाँ, राइट।
हाँ जी, थैंक यू सर।
ओके, बाय।
ओके,
थैंक यू सर।
Yes.
Mr. Rupin Merchant, are you there?
यस सर।
Please
Yes,
continue.
Rupin बताएं.
हाँ सर, मेरे दो क्वेश्चन है।
Please.
पहला एक क्वेश्चन ऐसा है कि आफ्टर डिमोनेटाइजेशन डिपार्टमेंट आस्क few questions regarding that SBN notes deposited in the bank account.
Okay.
But in time limit we were not able to give the reply, and so that they have initiated survey in our premises.
Okay.
They didn't find anything wrong. Even
Okay.
they found the stock and each and everything in course of regular. So at the time of scrutiny assessment, उन लोगों ने एडिशन किया है। वो एडिशन उनका एक ही था कि आपने डीमोनेटाइजेशन के टाइम पे 70 लाख आपने जो कैश डिपॉजिट किया हुआ है वो गलत है। और उन्होंने बिफोर शोकोस उन्होंने मुझे वो नोटिस नहीं दिया था कि किसी का सर्वे स्टेटमेंट एट द टाइम ऑफ सर्वे स्टेटमेंट लिया था, जिन्होंने ऐसा कबूल किया हुआ था कि उन्होंने 9th या 10th को हमको माल बेचा था, बट उन्होंने हमारे पास से ओल्ड करेंसी में पैसा लिया हुआ था।
ठीक है।
सो नाउ व्हाट वुड बी अवर ग्राउंड?
नहीं, ग्राउंड तो जितना हमने आज डिस्कशन किया है उससे आपका रिप्लाई नहीं मिलता।
वैसे तो मिल जाता है कि अगर उसके बाद भी अगर बाई चांस हमने लिया हुआ है तो वो
नहीं, अगर मैंने सेल ऑलरेडी किया है, अपने यहाँ बुक में सेल लिया हुआ है, मेरा स्टॉक था, स्टॉक एंट्री हुई है, वो उसमें सिर्फ अगर इशू ये भी है कि मान लो दूसरी पार्टी ने कहा कि उसको 10 तारीख को उसने पैसा दिया था आपको, तो फिर देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग। आरबीआई एक्ट से मैंने बताया आपको जो है।
ओके, एंड वन मोर क्वेश्चन इज रिगार्डिंग कि जहाँ पे किसी और का केस था, उन्होंने एट द टाइम ऑफ स्क्रूटिनी नो रिप्लाई हैज बीन फाइल्ड बाय द चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, एक्स पार्टी ऑर्डर अंडर सेक्शन 144 हैज बीन पास्ड।
करेक्ट।
Actually, it was due to the cash deposited of around 10 lakh rupees.
Okay.
So, the return filed under section 44 AD. So, at the time of before CIT appeal, what I should only give the cash book, or I should give all the papers relating my purchase and sales and each and everything?
So you have to give the full record accounts. जो भी आपका जो है एविडेंस है कि भाई कहाँ से पैसा आया, क्या सेल हुई, किसको सेल हुई, जितना रिकॉर्ड आपके पास अवेलेबल है, यू शुड प्रूव विद एविडेंस। वो उतना ही अच्छा है।
Okay, because I think it was a limited scrutiny ना।
नहीं, लिमिटेड स्क्रूटनी में भी उसका जो क्वेश्चन क्या रहे, इसी देखिए ये प्रॉब्लम बहुत सारे केसेस में है कि रिप्लाई आप नहीं दे पाए। रिप्लाई देने के ना देने के दो रीजंस रहे हैं बेसिकली। एक तो टाइम पीरियड बहुत शॉर्ट दिया गया था बहुत सारे केसेस में, कि नोटिस आए 2 दिन के टाइम दिए गए हैं, वो सब जो वो प्रॉब्लम है। तो उनमें स्पेसिफिक प्ली लेनी चाहिए प्रिंसिपल और नेचुरल जस्टिस की, कि प्रिंसिपल नेचुरल जस्टिस और नॉट। सेकंड प्ली मतलब यही है कि बहुत से लोग जो रिलेक्टेंट रहे उन्होंने रिप्लाई नहीं करा टाइमली, उनमें कोई ना कोई बहाना बनाना पड़ेगा किस वजह से रिप्लाई नहीं हुआ। चार्ट अकाउंटेंट की गलती रही, हमारी गलती रही, नोटिस देखा नहीं साइट पर, या जो भी है उस तरह का कोई ना कोई रीजन देना पड़ेगा, राइट। बट हमें कमिश्नर के सामने प्रूव करना है।
तो फुल रिकॉर्ड्स आई शुड गिव द फुल रिकॉर्ड्स एज, तो मेरा परचेज सेल्स मुझे सब कुछ प्रूव करके देना पड़ेगा।
एविडेंस तो देना ही पड़ेगा ना आपको। वो तो अगर असिस्टिंग ऑफिसर भी स्क्रूटनी भी करता, चाहे वो लिमिटेड स्क्रूटनी पे नोटिस था, और फिर तो वो मांगता ही ना आपसे, आपके पास पैसा कहाँ से आया। वो तो आपके रिलेशन में सारा इशू बन जाएगा रिकॉर्ड का।
ओके सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच, एंड आई मस्ट थैंक यू कि आपका बहुत ही बढ़िया ये लेक्चर था।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Up to this, I am very much thankful on behalf of NSC and all members of who has joined in this group. Especially thankful to you as well as Mr. Bhaskar Patel.
Bhaskar has not joined today.
Yeah, he has joined, but right now he is busy with AFTP Western Zone meetings.
Acha, okay.
They have meeting. So
I think he was not there in earlier presentation also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I am also thankful to him.
You are having members throughout India. I thought that probably Gujarat they are having.
No, sir. NSC and actually NSC is not an association, as well as this is a group of association and group of members.
I see. Like All India Federation, in fact.
Yes, just like a federation, and
just
we are
like
taking care of members or other association also. Especially
how many members are there in your association?
So each and every state or district members association are our members. So there is not an exact number of members with us.
Okay. So that's very good.
Yes,
Chalo,
please,
thanks very much to give this opportunity to
Not
have the
an issue,
interaction
sir.
with the people.
Right now in this
Yes,
group,
yes.
you have delivered lecture approx 210 persons, and all are enjoyed. And
Okay, okay.
you can
That's
see in
very
a
good.
chat box also.
Yes, yes.
Everyone are appreciating. Once
Right,
again,
right.
thank you very much.